Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your hosts, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Yeah, right?
Stadium's so cool because they have those seats that have like seat warmers.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're stuck with plastic bleachers in our baseball stadium. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Way to
Plastic if you're lucky. If you're in the outfield Progressive, you're sitting on metal.
Or if you're in the Coliseum, who knows what the hell you're sitting on? You're sitting on wood benches, like poor God, I feel bad for athletics fans.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Ace fans. Anyway, we might if we got a little bit of time, we'll talk some baseball at the end of this. Bro, this is gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I said this to you earlier when we were texting. I was like, this might be the most excited I've been to do a show since, Johnny signed last July.
People want to come to Columbus, brother.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't have any doubts about him having interest when it happened, but
I mean, we can talk about that when we get
him before the draft. Say that
when we get to him.
Yeah,
when we get to him, and I think a lot of you know who him is, because he is him.
Do we need to bury the lead? Should we just get into it?
Let's get an ad read done first.
Yes,
because everything, as y'all know,
and then we'll get our draft kepi out of the way.
As ever, all of you know that we, everything here at the Hockey Podcast Network, us, friends of ours, our live streams, which we had one for the draft the other day for the first round, which was super, super cool. It's all brought to you by our buddies at DraftKings Sportsbook right up here. And new customers, you can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN when you bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets right away. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. And deep breath in. Here we go.
Here you go. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hills Casino and Resort. In West Virginia, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games are regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Excuse me, 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. One boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Let's go.
I'm going to give you a kepi for that ad read because that was damn near flawless. I'm very impressed. That may be your best ad read yet.
You think so? I tried to make it like a friggin' auctioneer.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. But I'm going to start off our kepis for the draft, and I'm going to give my kepi to the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, just give it to the whole program.
The whole University of Michigan.
Which is fun. It's like, can we just talk about that part for a second? Because
what a factory that...
We know that this program's great.
What did I say 2 years ago after we drafted Kent Johnson?
Oh, gosh. It's been
2 years. I said I would draft a kid from Michigan every year.
Every year.
Every year. Because they're just such a factory.
Well, we talked about this when him and Blanks signed.
signed.
that at the time they had like over 200 alumni in the NHL.
It was like some ridiculous amount of players playing in the NHL, and you add Werenski to that list. It's so funny like how that kind of worked out. We've made so many picks, and then their first 2 picks of the draft.
Well, it's so funny because like I saw this plenty just over last night and of course of today. It's like for a team based out of Columbus, Ohio, we sure get a lot of Michigan kids, don't we?
They do. Yeah. It's pretty funny. But
it's very funny.
Nobody, it's the funniest part about it though, if you look at like the fan base, not a single and most of these fans, bear in mind, are huge Buckeye fans.
Well, because of where it is.
Because of location, obviously. Yeah. There's not a single person who cares.
No.
There's not a single person who cares because they're just like, good.
They're awesome players. Like,
yeah. We are more than willing to forgive whatever you did to Ohio State in college if you're good for us in the pros.
Well, it's also because it's more like a hockey thing.
Yeah.
Than like the big rivalry comes from the football teams.
Yeah, then, like, I think a lot of people are like me in the fact that we root for Ohio State. Like, I'm a huge Ohio State football fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay attention to the basketball team. I don't pay attention that much to the hockey. Like, I'll pay attention to them and
pay attention to the hockey team.
I'm never devastated when Ohio State hockey loses because I have zero investment compared to what I've invested in Ohio State.
Compared to the football team, yes.
Exactly.
It's like,
so I think a lot of people are kind of feeling the same way in that breath.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would probably be the same case for baseball as well. But and I think a lot of people, because of that, feel the way that I do, which is just, I don't really care. Let's get a bunch of them because they're all good.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, how do we even start this? Like,
so let me just say that mine is, I mean, I don't want to give it to any of the kids that we drafted.
You want to give it to Yarmo?
I want to give it to Jarmo Kekalainen. Is that fair?
I thought Jarmo killed it this draft. That, like, obviously, like, the big headliner is what happened at 3, but I thought a lot of the other picks he made were really, really good.
Well,
Luca Pinelli in the 4th round, I thought was a really, really good pick.
I loved your tweet about William Whitelaw.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm not going to take full credit for that tweet because I was working today, so I was standing out by the one machine printing a shitload of envelopes, which is so boring. And I get a text from Alex, and he sends me Mark's tweet, and he just said William Whiteclaw. So because he sent me that and said Whiteclaw, I immediately clicked on it and then made the joke. So I'm not going to take full credit for that. Alex, our good buddy Alex C, deserves some credit for that.
Who, by the way, is on one of Neil's latest podcasts.
He is. He's had a hell of a last couple of weeks, man. He's gotten a couple scoops.
Mm-hmm.
He
was on Devil State.
He's gotten several articles out. Like he's been busy, man. He's been.
Well, the Devils have been busy, and it's like it's.
And we'll get to the Devils in a bit because a lot of different things have happened.
Speaking to Neil, he's going to be on Shark City tonight, which is going to be fun. Some more THPN crossover for you guys.
Shark City.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Wonder what they're going to talk about.
Huh? So yes, mine's going to Jarmo Kekalainen because this dude for the last like 3 drafts now has just.
I think he's done really well in all 3
home
drafts.
run after home run.
It's like,
and yes, some of these are way more obvious picks because boohoo the team.
Yeah,
like it's a shame how the team is done itself, but like.
You don't see these players playing the NHL and for 3 or 4 years unless it's like the real top end guys.
Yeah.
So it's going to take us a little bit of time to see truly how these players pick out. But from an optics standpoint, from day one, all 3 drafts on paper look good. And even when you look at the 2021 draft and the 2022 draft, with a little bit of hindsight now, not a ton of hindsight, but still a little bit of hindsight, they still look good.
Yeah.
So I've been very, very, very happy about that. I think John Davidson coming back, Rick Nash coming in, some of the people they brought in, there's been a little bit more of an analytics focus with the drafting specifically. that has resulted in some of the things that they've done. I'm thrilled about that.
So, yes, the University of Michigan hockey program and Jarmo Kekalainen,
yes,
getting Keppies for the 2023 draft from us. So here's what I want to do. So I've got our draft class.
Yes.
And then I've also got a tweet bookmarked from our friends at SDPN about the top 10.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about our class. I want to talk about the top 10. And then I want to talk about surprises and other stories that came from the draft.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, well, let's start off with
let's start. You want to start off with the big fish, or do you want to go backwards?
Well, how about this? Why don't we start off with the first 2 picks of the draft?
Okay, yeah.
Pick, and then let's do the top 10, and then
you want to do the top 10? Okay, let me get that tweet just really fast, because I have it bookmarked. Right? No. I'm on our Twitter. Excuse me. I didn't bookmark it on ours. I bookmarked it on mine. Okay, here we go. So, unanimous number 1.
Good value pick.
Yeah. Yeah, really good value pick. Unanimous number 1, Connor Bedard going to the Hawks. We knew this.
Yeah, the draft started at pick number 2. We thought it started at pick number 3, but it actually started at pick number 2.
It did, honestly, which is crazy. We didn't think that we were going to get a surprise this early.
We didn't.
Nobody thought we were going to get a surprise this early.
Let's talk about 2 and 3 together, because
they are kind of tied together.
They're tied together.
We had been talking about both of these guys for a while. And once again, thanks to our friends, I'm on the Discord all the time. Shout outs to our boys at SDPN, who had a blast in Nashville. If you saw all the stuff, like Steve getting chopped by Eric Young. Dude, and all of that stuff.
That is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen him do, and he's been a Leaf fan his entire life. No, that is a tough son of a bitch for doing that. I never would ever have the courage to do something like that. It is dumb, and it is also very brave.
Oh, it's awesome. So at number 2, the Anaheim Ducks shock everybody, and Pat Verbeek went with Leo Carlsson.
So I said, here's how I want to say this, okay? Mm-hmm. The last couple of weeks, after we got the 3rd overall pick because of the lottery.
Yeah.
A lot of people were down because so many of us were like, man, it's one thing to not get Bedard, but missing out on Fantilli is really what hurts, because we wanted either of those 2 guys, and to not get either of them after finishing in the bottom 2 sucks. And when we analyze our draft, what are the Blue Jackets going to do at 3?
When we had our debate the other day,
it was always through this lens of you mentioned it. You were like, I mean, if Fantilli's there, and I was like, yeah, if he's there,
right? Right. You completely shrugged me off.
I shrugged it off. We spent next to no time talking about the possibility of Adam Fantilli going to the Blue Jackets, because we were like everybody else.
Yeah.
You either go with Leo Carlsson or Will Smith. A lot of people wanted Leo Carlsson. Some people were very, very divided on Will Smith. We both said both of them are going to be very good players. I understand the divide.
I think we both sided
Will Smith isn't going to be good.
Our preference for both of us was Leo.
No doubt, but
we weren't going to be boo-hooing over getting Will.
If they picked Will Smith between him and Leo Carlsson at 3, we were not going to be super, super pissed or anything like that.
No, so all 4 of these guys are fantastic centers.
Yes, and they're going to be awesome NHLers. This is going to go down as a fantastic draft.
Yes.
We throughout the course of the season, when talking about the draft, because the team was so bad this year, I think we spent more time talking about Adam Fantilli than anybody else, because everybody already knew Bedard and how good he was.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure it was understood just how unbelievable Adam Fantilli was.
Yes.
And just how this guy goes number 1 in any draft class that doesn't have a Connor Bedard in it.
Yes.
So when we saw the reports of the Ducks might take Leo Carlson. The Ducks might take Matvey Michkov. We were like, it's
we were like, okay.
And
sure.
then they got up on the stage and actually picked Leo Carlson.
when we like when that was all over Twitter, nobody, like everybody was flabbergasted. They're shouting at we're shouting.
Oh my God.
Did you see Nasher's tweets? Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Do you know what it reminded me of personally? It reminded me of 2 years ago in Cleveland in person when I was at the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And it was the same moment of like waiting with that pit in the like feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Yeah.
Where your team has the opportunity to do something really fucking great or really stupid considering the circumstances. It was when the Bears traded up to 11 and there were 2 quarterbacks available and one was Justin Fields and the other was Mac Jones.
Ooh,
And I had to stand there for 5 minutes like, for the love of God.
Like all of us, all the fifth line was like, Yarmo, don't fuck this up.
We know you love Will Smith. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. Like, hey, don't be wrong. I stand by. Will Smith's going to be very good. And
yes, he's going to be great.
But when you have Adam Fantilli available.
Adam Fantilli is a Columbus Blue Jacket. Let's fucking go.
And then I could finally breathe a sigh of relief that they got him.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to rapid fire through the rest of this and just the fun stories with the top 10. And then we're going to gush about Adam Fantilli for like 10 minutes.
Yes. At least.
So Will Smith getting jiggy in San Jose. They got a great player there.
Really, really good pick for them. I like the fit a lot.
All 4 of these guys are going to probably play right away.
They say Will Smith's going to play right away?
I wouldn't be shocked if he does.
I wouldn't be shocked either, considering the state of the Sharks, but I think you can go either way with that one. Will Smith, if he does play, would be the second player ever to go to the NHL straight away from the United States development team, and the other one was Jack Hughes.
Well, it's fun because the development program has churned out the most talent over the last like 4 drafts.
Yeah,
something like that.
Because like all things considered, like it's the most common entity because when we talk about players who went to college, more often than not, players
they played in that program as well.
Went to their university.
Right. So Will goes 4 to San Jose. David Reinbacher.
Yes.
David. Excuse me. Poor Carey Price.
Poor David Reinbacher.
Yeah, poor kid.
It's funny though, like if it's any solace to Canadiens fans who are upset about the pick, do you know who that also happened to in a draft that's pretty memorable? This was a while back, but ended up becoming a good player is Claude Giroux.
Oh, that's right. Bobby Clark.
Claude Giroux. Started out pretty good, so who knows? Maybe there's a key to having people forget your name.
So he goes 5th to Montreal, and it's funny. Like I just felt bad for Carey.
I felt bad for Carey. I felt bad for David Reinbacher, but at the same time, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was great. 6th, Bill Armstrong does the Coyotes thing. And he picks Dmitry Simashev.
Ooh. Here's the thing. Okay. Now, analytics.
I had never heard of this kid in my life. I literally thought he was like a creative player.
So, analytics aren't super high on him. A lot of the charts aren't. But it's sometimes difficult, I think, to analyze defensemen using some of the metrics they use. Mm-hmm. I'm not as low on him as some of the analytics are, but he was projected basically to be later in the first round, probably in that 15 to 25 range.
Remind me, is Reinbacher a forward?
He's a defenseman.
Okay, so he was
first defenseman off the board.
First defenseman off the board. Okay. And then Simashev.
So Simashev is a guy who's got some offensive upside. So I don't look, there's bust potential here, but I'm not saying,
because this is, you texted me this is a Yarmo type pick.
Yeah. Well,
where
here's the thing. My irritation with a move like this isn't the pick. as much as it is Matvei Michkov is on the board.
He's there.
He said directly to the Coyotes, I will not play for you.
Oh, so he pulled a Lindros. Okay.
He did. But, Jake, with that knowledge,
Ryan Leonard is there.
I'm not even talking about Ryan Leonard. If Simashev's your guy, that's fine. Okay. Trade back. You don't have to take him at 6. You're telling me there's not another team besides the Flyers at 7 who would have taken Matvei Michkov? You're telling me the Caps wouldn't trade up 2 spots? The Sabres wouldn't move up some spots?
Absolutely. All my Caps friends were in shambles at 7.
I totally understand that because they would. Let me tell you, if Michkov goes to the Capitals at 8, that dude's over.
He's playing with Ovechkin. Yeah. So okay, I guess good luck to Simashev whenever he's able to.
Yeah, good luck to him. It's not so much that I necessarily hate the pick because
it's the whole headache that the Coyotes gives me.
Yes, it's you could have traded back, let another team trade up, give you a shit ton of assets to get Michkov, and you could have picked him 13th, 14th.
Yeah, you still could have gotten Simashev. You probably could have gotten Simashev
and other assets
in the second
really
round.
So that was my frustration with that. But we'll get.
It's just the Coyotes. Oh my god. Yeah. We could talk about the Coyotes again at a later date, but wow, they gave me a headache with this pick. Michkov drops a lot. Well. He was projected to go literally anywhere in the top 5.
Yes.
And he drops 2 spots to 7.
Now, I wonder so the top 3 spots, I don't think there's a scenario where Matvei Michkov looks at any team that picks him in the top 3 and says, I'm not going to play for you. I do think there's a scenario with the next 3 teams that he does that. The Sharks aren't very good right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Habs play in Montreal. I'm not entirely sure how you feel about playing in a market like that.
Yeah, that'd be a little rough.
We know he did not want to play for.
Right. Now
Philadelphia is perfect for him.
It's funny because Philly's different in that they're starting the complete teardown, and Danny Briere, this freaking dude.
Outside of the Hayes deal, he's done magic almost everything he's touches. Turning to a
okay. Sheet of orange. Can we say that because the last dude was Chuck Fletcher? Is it that Danny Briere is this good, or is it that Chuck Fletcher was that bad?
I think it's both.
A little bit of both.
But both. I'm not looking at it through the lens of what would Chuck Fletcher do? I'm looking at it through the lens of just how I normally look at things. I think he's making a lot of really, really smart, crafty moves.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice because, Matvei goes up to the podium and he's he says, Philly's where I wanted to be all along. You kind of have to say that, I guess.
A lot of players do that, yeah. But no, he did say it, but I don't know. A lot of the pictures that were taken, I think it was genuine.
You think he seemed genuinely happy that he's going to Philly?
Yeah, I don't know if it was actually the place he wanted to go to all along, simply because, if I were him,
I
would love to fall to 8, but
I
think he is genuinely thrilled about being in Philadelphia, and I think it's a really good spot for him to be. So, I think he is happy, and I think we will see him in the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, because Philly also doesn't have that superstar yet anymore.
No, and in this rebuild, it's very possible that we see the Flyers very bad next year to a point where they're picking in the top 5 again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't pick top 5 this year, but you know what I mean.
Top 10.
I think it's very possible that they could get the first or second overall pick, and whoever they pick is still not looked as the franchise player because
Matvei Michkov.
So this is a good initial starting building block for this team.
And who knows what else they're going to do with this rebuild, because they're trading out a lot of guys that could help with that still. Guys that they currently have
I think a lot of it comes from you have to look at it in terms of what your window could be with Matvei Michkov. And
right.
how
So
you
start a
have to
little
wait
bit
for
further
that.
back from scratch. Like, yeah.
I think you push it back. And also, you have to capitalize on guys when they're at their highest value.
Right.
Like right now is the time to trade Travis Konechny.
Right now is the time to get value for Sanheim.
Right now is the time to trade Scott Lawton.
Right. So that's very fair. That's a very solid point. Good luck to Michkov whenever he does come over. Like, dude,
I'm excited.
that's gonna
I'm
be
not thrilled about him being in the division, but I am thrilled about him going to Philadelphia. I think it's a great spot for him.
Well, it's funny because this entire division had a very, very solid first round.
It was funny because the Devils made so many great moves over the past few days. Mm-hmm. And so much excitement with my friends who are all Devils fans. And then the draft happened, and they're like, of course, the Metro gets tougher.
Because they got Tyler Toffoli, they signed Timo. It's like they got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
So the 8th pick with the Washington Capitals, Ryan Leonard goes there.
Yeah, that was the next best thing that they could do besides getting Michkov. I like the fit a lot.
Honestly, I thought Leonard was going to go 5th.
I think, yeah. There's a little bit of a drop here too. Ryan Leonard's a guy who, is that a potential Tom Wilson replacement? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
he could play with. It would be fun. Him playing with Tom for a couple of years just to get that kind of game to mature a little bit.
We'll have to see what they do as far as an extension with Tom Wilson, if they extend him or if they trade him.
Well, isn't Tom only 27, 28-ish, 26 even?
I think he's 28.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
No.
With
not bad.
Still having Tom there.
Yeah.
Nate Danielson went 9th to the Wings.
I like Nate Danielson a lot.
I don't know much about him.
Very talented player. This is another guy who I think probably goes top 7, top 6 in most drafts.
Yeah. Well,
who falls to 9 because this draft.
Wow. And isn't this this is probably the first draft in a couple of years? It's probably just the first draft that's had substantial playing time in development leagues since COVID screwed everything up.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I think that might play a part in why this draft class is so strong.
Yeah.
In comparison to previous years, but
because they could actually play
in general. Yeah, it's a good point. I like it.
Rounding out the top 10, going to the St. Louis Blues, their first top 10 pick in ages.
Yeah.
I think they said since what? The 80s or something?
God, that's no, definitely not.
No,
they picked Petrangelo 4th.
Okay. I don't know.
So probably it might be their first top 10 pick since Petrangelo, though.
Gosh. They got Dalibor Dvorsky.
I like him. There's a lot of people thought it was an interesting pick, but Dvorsky. I still think I think it may have been a little bit of a reach, but it's a little bit of a reach on a player I like.
Yes. Now it's a very solid top 10, and we know that the top 5 kind of carries that.
Yes, carries a lot of the weight for sure.
But still, we've got really solid players here. I love this. Let's get into our class really quick.
Yeah, it's just
so 3rd overall, first pick, Adam Fantilli. And let's gush about this kid. Oh my God.
Solid value pick.
Just the fact that he even dropped.
I couldn't believe that it happened. I went in just pick Leo Carlson, whatever.
We'll be fine, whatever.
Fine too, but just don't do anything stupid and go off the board.
Yeah.
Don't pick a David Reinbacher or something like that.
Yeah. Don't.
I couldn't believe it when he fell. I can't.
We're all clenched, just
I still can't freaking believe that Anaheim went up to the stage and announced that they were taking Leo Carlson.
And don't get me wrong, Leo's going to be fantastic.
He's going to be phenomenal. Like, I don't want this to come off like, look at these freaking idiots. No. Leo Carlson's good.
Because I want to reassure, because like I'm sure like we have guys on the Quack Report, and I have friends on Discord that are Ducks fans. It's like I've got plenty of Ducks people all over.
Yeah, I got a buddy who's a big Ducks fan. We were talking about he wasn't like, he's not upset about Leo Carlson as much as he is that he just preferred Fantilli, which I think a lot of Ducks fans are kind of feeling right now. But
yeah, I had people that were still like they felt like upset about and it was like, but we're still getting in there. Leo's going to be fantastic. Like you're like Trevor and with Terry.
This does several things. So one, it moves Zegras to the wing, which they needed to do.
You could, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's what you need to do. I think it's going to make him way more effective, and I think it's going to be top line.
That can bump Mason up.
Yeah, exactly. So that's ideal.
Bumping McTavish up, right?
Yeah, I like it because, like I said, like it's a move that you make, picking him over Fantilli. It'll upset fans when it happens,
right?
But in 48 hours, so 24 hours from now, it's easier to swallow. You get yourself more hyped to it. You open yourself up more to it, and at the end of the day, like both these guys are going to have really good careers.
And we talked about Leo, extensively with his.
I think, in general, though, this is best case scenario for both teams, just in terms of fit.
Yes, because getting into Adam,
Fantilli fits the Blue Jackets more, and I think Carlson fits the Ducks more than he does the Blue Jackets, and I think Fantilli fits the Blue Jackets more than he does the Ducks.
Well, it goes back to what I said right off the top of the show.
Yeah.
Fantilli wants to be here.
Exactly.
Fantilli back
wants to be in Anaheim. I mean,
Fantilli back in May. The league PR asks him, like, where do you see yourself going? Where do you want to go? And he said Columbus.
But yeah, got a couple of Michigan buddies there. They all say it's nice.
We're playing with Johnny Gaudreau. Another Hobie Baker winner. It's kind of fun.
Patrick Laine, who's pretty good.
Elvis Merzlikins, who can bounce back plenty.
That'd be nice.
Did you see at the draft party that the Jackets had? That had, I believe, Sean was there, Elvis was there, a couple of the other players were there. Nice. Both Sean and Elvis were super stoked to welcome Adam in.
I bet.
It is so cool to see that. And going over Adam's stat line really quick, I don't even need to look it up. It's like muscle memory at this point. 64 games, right? I just want to get the games played right. 64 games, or no, 36 games, 36 games.
Points.
65 points, 30 of them goals, people.
Yeah.
That's like
one of 3 players in the last 30 years to have 65 plus points as a freshman. The other 2 to do it, one was Jack Eichel, who just won the Cup.
Yeah.
In Vegas, who also went. Well, this guy didn't go second overall, but Eichel went second overall. Fantilli was supposed to go second overall, but he went third.
He's fine.
Eichel had 71 points.
Right.
And number 1 was Paul Kariya, who had 100.
Paul Kariya had 109, you said, right? Because I remember we had
100 points his freshman year.
100 right on the button.
Right on the button. That's
still just monstrous.
Ridiculous.
That's monstrous.
That's a 29-point gap between 1 and 2.
It's freaking insane. And it's funny because, like, we haven't had excitement for a draft pick or a signing or anything like this since Johnny, because, and this is why I bring this up, because I called you this time.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were working or not, so I didn't want to call you, but I kind of figured you might. So I kept my phone by me.
It's like because you called me over when we signed Johnny, and
I was thrilled about drafting Yurchek last year.
yes,
Thrilled about drafting Kent Johnson 2 years ago.
yes.
This was easily the happiest I've ever been for Blue Jackets draft pick in my entire fandom of the team. I was only 2 years old when they drafted Rick Nash. Actually, 3 years old when they drafted Rick Nash. So, believe it or not, I didn't remember it because I was 3, and because it was 8 years before I started watching the sport. So I didn't get that excitement.
Right.
Like, and since then we haven't had the first overall pick. So the other 2 times we picked super high were like top 4. I think were 2012 when we picked Ryan Murray, and unfortunately didn't work out, and 2016
Ryan, and then...
when we drafted Pierre-Luc Dubois, which is a major surprise, and that one kind of worked out.
Can we just go ahead and give him his props for his 8-year deal in LA? Like, he finally got something locked up, and like,
congrats on stealing $8.5 million a year. He's a good player. He's a good player.
He's a great player.
He's a really, really, really talented player.
Very solid young player.
Is he an 8.5 by 8 player?
I mean,
not a chance in hell.
Well, it's funny. He was asking for 9. And I thought like
that's
that was
smart.
No.
You asked for 9. That's how you get 8.5.
But yes, congrats to PLD on getting his big deal out west. And Adam, this freaking kid, we got our guy. We got our number 1 centerman. This is the kid. And we've already, like, I've seen tweets from Portsy, from Edger, from Jeff, that Yarmo and Adam's camp have already had the talk about whether he's going to return to college or make the jump.
Seems like it's heading in the direction of he's just going to make the jump, right?
He's going to make the jump. Yeah. It's like, it's more than likely he's going to start with us.
So,
because he's going to be at dev camp.
Okay.
So that just makes sense.
Here's what I'm super excited about for the Blue Jackets in the future with this pick. Okay. And we're going to get into some other picks that we like in a second. But
yes, we'll talk about the whole rest of the draft class.
I'm going to make it as simple as possible for people and why they should be thrilled right now. Okay.
Yes.
The 2 biggest things you need if you want to win a cup: a number 1 center.
Yep.
And a number 1 defenseman.
Yes.
The Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday got their number 1 center in getting Adam Fantilli.
Yes.
The Blue Jackets already have their number 1 defenseman in Zach Werenski, but they also have another guy who I think could be better in David Yurchek.
Yeah, like we know that Z is the franchise guy on the back.
And
like we know that for a fact.
Very soon that franchise guy could end up being David instead.
We just have to see how David progresses. And, who knows if he's going to spend more time in Cleveland this year.
I hope that they let him spend a little bit more time in Cleveland because they don't need to rush him, especially after getting Damon Severson and Ivan Provorov. I think that also may have been part of the motivation for those moves, is to give him a little bit more time
to
breathe and progress properly. Like, we talk so much about all these draft picks that we like, and guys like Jordan Dumais and Stan Svozil, and even your Matichucks, your Sillingers,
your
Pullmans, your Gavin Brindleys, who we're gonna get to in a second. Guys, we really, really like. And don't get me wrong, these are all players that I think could end up becoming really good complementary pieces. But the most important pieces, your game changers. You need a number 1 center and number 1 defenseman.
Yes.
And the Blue Jackets today have both.
Yes. It's solidified that we have both at this point. God, I'm just imagining line combos right now. and obviously the one that we want to see.
The one that we want to see the most.
The one that we want to see the most.
The one I think we're gonna see on night one.
Yeah, it's Johnny Gaudreau on left wing, Adam Fantilli at center, and Patrick Laine at right.
It's funny, like we talk so much about Patrick Laine. Like, are they going to play him at center? They think this kind of.
I think this solidifies his fate over there on the wing. Yeah. I mean, unless you want to make Patrick Laine your second line center, but that's.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they experiment with it just for the hell of it. I mean, well, because how Mike Babcock feels about that.
It's can we? Yeah, I guess we should touch on Babs for a second. So it's and this was part of my plan to just mention Babcock for just a minute, because the details of the deal are all but solidified at this point.
Do you feel better about it now that the details are out? Because I do.
Yes. So
I feel a hell of a lot better about it now.
That doesn't mean I like this pick as a head coach.
No, and you don't have to. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying you have to.
No, but I'm not going to, like, I'm going to enjoy Babcock hockey. I'm not going to enjoy Babcock the person.
Well, like, that's, I'm going to give the person a chance. Frankly.
I guess, like, as long as he shows that he has grown and changed.
Yeah. Here's the reason I like this, Jake. I know it says his contract says 2 years.
Yes.
This is a 1-year deal.
This is,
if they don't like what they see this season from Mike Babcock,
he is canned.
So this is like sure, the security as far as financials and the contract is 2 years. So if they like what they see from Babcock this year, they can work on an extension.
Yes.
But if they hate what they see from Babcock,
get him out of here. Yeah. It's nice, like it's a nice short leash.
Exactly. And
Babcock needs this kind of a short leash.
Mike Babcock, a guy who's had a pretty good track record as far as his coaching success in the National Hockey League. Now, granted,
700 wins is nothing to sneeze at. He's got a couple of cups. He's
got one.
Did he only have the one? Oh, that's right.
2002 he had the one in 2008, but he went to the finals 3 times.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember he wasn't in 2002. Right. So yes, he's got the one cup. He's got 700 wins. He's phenomenal as like a winning coach.
As a tactician and everything like that.
As a tactician, as his strategist, things like that.
Mike Babcock, this is why I've totally warmed up to it. For the reason I just gave. And the second reason I like it is because Mike Babcock needs the Columbus Blue Jackets a hell of a lot more than the Columbus Blue Jackets need him.
I think so.
And I think because of that, you are actually going to see change. If they had given Mike Babcock a 5-year deal, man, I tell you,
there wouldn't be any change.
Oh,
it was disgusting.
When I see 2 years, $8 million,
that's a sign. That's a sign from the front office that says, "Don't you fuck this up."
And it's a sign. It's a little bit of a sign of them saying, "We understand the concerns with Babcock.
Yes,
we believe the upside is much greater than the concerns, and we're going to establish his being here in Columbus in a way where if he fucks up, we can get out of this scot-free, easy."
Right. Yes.
And interesting, Pascal Vincent hasn't gone anywhere yet, has he?
No. We haven't heard anything about Pascal going. No.
I almost wonder if we see them keep Pascal Vincent, and if Babcock fucks this up in any way,
Pascal takes the job.
So it could be like a situation where Babs is your head coach. Like I said, it's basically a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
If Pascal is your assistant coach this upcoming season, which I hope they do,
if Babs
screws this up, well then Pascal gets the job.
Yes.
If Babs does a great job and actually changes and the team does well, will you extend Babcock? And because the Blue Jackets do well, Pascal Vincent can get a head coaching job elsewhere.
Right.
Similar to what we just saw Andrew Brunette do with the New Jersey Devils getting a job with the Nashville Predators. And then who comes along to replace him? Travis Green.
Right.
So I hope that they can keep Pascal Vincent, because if they do, this could be a really ideal situation for them.
That's job security for him.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So, I think we covered that. Yeah. Let's get to some of the other things.
I just hope that Babs does the right things.
Me too.
And stays kind of under the radar with things.
Yeah.
If things like, we need to know if an incident happens, we need to know then. Yeah. None of this cover it up bullshit.
Yeah.
We need to know if something happens with them. Anyway, okay. We talked to a little, okay. And yes, absolutely. I'm so ready for Adam. I'm so ready for Adam Fantilli.
Well, sometimes, look, getting drafted is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you get drafted 3rd overall. But there's nothing more fun than when you make a big move and you get to do it with one of your best buds.
You're right. 2nd round, number 34 overall, center Gavin Brindley, also University of Michigan.
I thought this kid was probably going to go in like the late 1st round, like the 25 to 32 range.
Mm-hmm.
So being there at 34 isn't crazy. I love this pick. I love this pick.
I love that they congratulated each other. Like when Gavin went up to the podium. Like,
I don't know if you saw it, but Fantilli literally said he was hoping that they were going to take Gavin Brindley because he was still available, and then next he was like, "Oh my god, if he can join me, that'd be sick." These guys have to be so thrilled right now.
Well, because Columbus's tweet was great too, because it was like teammates yesterday, still teammates today. It was like,
still wearing blue, baby.
We're the Maize and Blue Jackets anymore.
Yeah, we are.
That's a name drop for the podcast right there.
Now Brindley, more than likely, we're going to see go back to Michigan this year.
Yeah, probably.
But I think he's without Adam Fantilli there, he's probably going to get more ice time, more responsibilities on the power play. He's chances even better numbers, book a little bit more.
Chances to develop for a guy like Gavin, which is great.
I freaking love that.
Now, can we just, because we're talking about this, let's just run through this really quick. Adam Fantilli, Gavin Brindley, Zach Werenski, Ken Johnson, Nick Blankenberg.
So there's 5.
Isn't there one more? I want to say there's one more.
I don't think so.
Is there not?
No, I don't think so.
Shoot, it's like that's 5 of your guys.
Yeah.
On a team from Columbus, Ohio. Our Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, man.
That's so funny. Oh,
I hope they keep doing this.
it's funny because the juxtaposition just still blows my mind. And
it's funny because I made the joke to one of my friends who's a big Michigan fan earlier. It's like they've kind of become our 3rd minor league team.
Kind of, yeah. It's very funny. But yes, welcome Gavin into the squad as well. 3rd round pick, number 66. This is William Whitewell.
I guess that I prefer Truly's, but I still think this is a good pick.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking clothes.
No, I say it's a good pick.
It's a nice pick.
I don't know shit about this guy.
I mean, totally honest. I didn't know anything from
this is a player we could probably learn a lot about if we bring someone on, and we'll try and bring someone on soon. But
and we the only
knowledge I have is Alex texted me and he was like, I like this pick, and I said, I do too.
It's the only guy that I knew of in this draft class was Fantilli, really. And then
okay.
Yeah.
I knew Gavin Brindley, got a chance to see him a bunch when I was watching Michigan games this year to watch Adam Fantilli and other guys.
Yeah.
Luca Pinelli, I know. I like him a lot. He's the brother of Francesco Pinelli, who is a draft pick of the Rangers.
So let's just go through the rest of this order really fast. First fourth rounder was 98th overall, and that's Andrew Strothman.
Don't know much about him.
Don't know much about him. Number 114, Luca Pinelli.
Like him.
We got two centers. We got a winger. We got a defenseman out of that. And another winger, I think. We got 4 centers out of this. And then, but like in this tweet, it just says forward for Pinelli. I think he's another center.
So Pinelli, my understanding of him and Brindley are these are 2 guys who are listed as centers who probably project more as wingers.
As wingers, okay. And then Whitelaw is just a winger.
Yeah.
Strothman's defense.
I knew that. I did know that about him. That's the only thing I knew about him.
Right. 5th round pick, 198th overall. We get a goalie. We get Melvin Strahl.
Don't know anything about him, but he's a goalie, and I'm glad that they took a goalie.
A goalie in the later rounds, and we know how those go for us.
Well, we've said it like several times. Like they need to rebuild the prospect pool a little bit as far as goaltending is concerned. So last year they took Sergei Ivanov.
Yep.
This year they take this guy. So hopefully next year they'll take another guy late too.
Yeah.
To keep adding and who knows? Like they're such a crapshoot. You take one, you just need one to hit.
I think they screwed up this draft pick because he's listed at 198th in the 5th round. I took this from Union and Blue. So
okay.
So let's give our boys at Union and Blue a little bit of a pass on the number pick.
Happens.
It happens. Yeah, typos happen left, right, and center, especially on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And with names like Reinbacher.
Yeah.
And then the last pick of the draft. 194th overall, 7th rounder, forward Oiva Keskinen.
Our Brock Purdy. Mr. Irrelevant, gonna come in, save the day. Yeah, I don't know anything about him either, but pretty cool. One thing I wanted to talk about in the 7th round that I really liked was Tom Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what he did?
Oh, wait, hang on. Never mind. So Keskinen and then 224th was the last pick in the draft. Tyler Peddle.
Tyler Peddle?
I heard some decent things about Tyler Peddle. Like,
oh man, I want him to be good just so you could say put the pedal to the metal.
The pedal to the yes, please.
Like that, like right off the bat, we already
got like a catchphrase for the kid. Like, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if you saw this. One thing I really liked about this draft, so since this was in Nashville, big honoring of David Poile. Who's
I did see this. Yes,
his last draft. His first ever captain was Tom Fitzgerald.
Right.
And Tom Fitzgerald, GM of the New Jersey Devils, traded his 7th round pick to Nashville for their 7th round pick next year.
7th
so
swap,
he could make one last draft pick.
I love that.
That's so cool.
That's just a wonderful gesture.
Yeah, it really is.
Awesome. And it's funny because going back to Nashville and kind of talking about Price one more time, I think Pekka screwed up a name too for their first rounder.
Yeah.
Oops.
Interesting to see what the Predators do in the next couple of weeks for their roster. I mean, we already saw them sell off Ryan Johansson. There were reports that they offered, I think the 15th pick, and Yaroslav Askarov to try to move up to 5.
I heard about Askarov being on the block, and it's like, what do you?
Well, it's like understandable if you're if you're just going to buy into Jussi Saros.
I guess if you're going to just keep Saros, that's fine. But then it's like,
what?
But they're going back and forth on like, are we going to move either of them?
Personally, I would just move Saros because his value is so high, and B, because I think Yaroslav Askarov's a stud, and he's more cost controllable asset, which I think they kind of need right now.
Askarov can score goals.
What?
Askarov can score goals.
Yes, he can. You know who else can score goals? Matvey Michkov, and it appears to me that that's what they were trying to do.
yeah.
Which, if you're the Coyotes, if you hear that is a legitimate offer, I can't believe that they didn't call up Nashville and say, "Hey, Montreal just passed on Michkov.
Right.
You know the Flyers are going to take this guy. We will offer you 6th overall pick for Askarov and your pick."
Yeah. Give me just a second. I'm gonna bring this. Let me read this and then you talk for a minute about it. Because I still need to bring up like award winners for our next thing. So this is in a tweet from Portsy. In the last 14 months, Columbus has signed Ken Johnson and Nick Blankenburg, and now have drafted Adam Fantilli and Gavin Brinley, all University of Michigan players, right?
Yes.
We're the Maize Union Blue. We're the Columbus Wolverines. Get over it. So they asked Yarmo about this, and here's his quote. "It's just a coincidence. When we do our list, we don't look at where they're from or where they go to school. We just do them in order of preference. It has fallen this way, that we've gotten a lot of Michigan players. It's a great program, obviously, and they have a long history of producing first-round picks and high picks. In that way, I guess it's not a coincidence because they have good players in the program."
He actually nailed it on the head.
It's just like,
I don't think he actually looks at it and is like, we're just going to pick a player from Michigan. Like, personally, I would do that, but that's because
it's like, look at it.
And because that's just how I operate.
It's just funny.
I'm like, I see a trend. I'm going to follow the trend, even if there's nothing else to back up why I would make a decision.
Right.
So no, what he says makes sense. I totally agree with it. I think it's funny that they're all Wolverines, but he's right. There is no coincidence. It's an unbelievable program that recruits really good players and then develops those really good players. And then those players get drafted really high because they're really talented and they get developed.
Fun thing that I'm coming across just as I'm scrolling this, Oliver Bonk. Oliver wore a mullet just like his dad back in '94.
That's awesome.
I love it. I don't know why I can't, because it's just like all headlines from today, I guess, because like there's the Bailey trade and the buyout and all this. I can't find the award winners anymore.
Bonk.
For people watching on YouTube, you get some visual support with that gag.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Yeah, I don't know if you want to expound on that, like, because it's just Yarmo being Yarmo, and
I mean, yeah, of course, Yarmo's just going to be Yarmo. Do you want me to send me the quote and I'll try and read it in his voice?
Oh my God. 2023 awards list of winners. Okay, here we go. And it's got the voting results, which is really fun too, because this was kind of a story with the votes.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about
Connor and the one writer.
I don't know the writer, so I'm not.
I don't know him either, but it's like
things about them.
It's very funny.
But I hope the writer who did that hits his funny bone on his coffee table really hard and it hurts. Well, and then I hope he stubs his toe.
So we'll get to that when we talk about Connor winning that trophy.
Do we have to bury the lead? He won MVP.
He won both MVPs because of course he did. So
who else was going to win it?
Well, yeah, exactly. So let's just go through the list really quick. Bill Masterton goes to Chris Letang.
Yep.
It should have.
That should have. I think people should have seen that coming.
Yeah. I mean, like coming back from
his second
stroke and losing his father.
Yeah. It's a tough year, but he's still
very
really
tough year.
A lot of courage playing, and God, what a player.
Very, very solid churn out from him points wise too. Like production wise, as he was in the lineup, he was still doing Chris Letang things. It's like, what else can you expect from the dude, right?
Right.
Love it. And he is one of those Penguins that, like, yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins are a rival team. Yeah. But we've said countless times, we enjoy and respect individual players on that team.
Yeah, it's hard not to. It's such a first-class organization.
Yes. Wondered how they put the analytics spin on it with Dubas there.
Curious to see what Kyle Dubas does. I like what they did. I know we didn't get to it, but
they got our boy. They got their Jaeger bomb.
Yeah,
they got Braden. That was a good pick.
You know, I don't expect him to come over immediately, Cole Sillinger style, but in a year or two, I think he can make an impact with the Penguins. I like it.
Yeah, the Calder went to Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken.
Where did Matty Beniers go?
I think he went to some team called the Wolverines.
Some local college.
Some weird, yeah.
I was literally explaining it to my buddy. Like, he texted me. He's like, "What is up with?" Like, he's like a casual fan. Mm-hmm. He like texts me every once in a while when the Blue Jackets do something. He'll be like, "Why do the Blue Jackets always take Michigan guys?" And I was like, "I can't explain to you just how much of a factory the University of Michigan is." Like,
yeah, what kind of
they like get really good players every couple of years. I was like, 2 years ago, 4 of the top 5 picks were from Michigan, and he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
that is the best way to describe how much of a factory,
how good Michigan hockey is. It's like,
just point directly to the 2021 NHL draft.
I'm trying to even remember that because it was Power's draft.
It was
right?
Owen Power, Matty Beniers,
and then Matty
Hughes, Kent Johnson,
and KJ went. Who went fourth? Because
Luke Hughes.
Okay, so that was 4 or 5. Then who went third? Shit, was that Cooley? Was that the Cooley draft?
No, that was last year. Who went third that year?
Oh my God, who went third that year?
I can't even remember because
was it because it wasn't Eklund? Because I think he went like 7th when he got drafted, and it's like,
no.
Shit.
Oh my God, I'm gonna look this up because it's driving me nuts.
It's got me blanking really bad.
Yeah, you Blankenberg.
Yeah. Good job.
Oh, Mason McTavish.
Oh my God.
The guy we talked about earlier?
The guy we talked about with Leo Carlson. Wow.
I knew that answer was going to drive me nuts when I saw
it. Yeah. So the E.J. McGuire Award of Excellence apparently is like a prospect award.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's a prospect award, and this is why they don't normally like announce it at the awards, which, by the way, apparently they were fun, but they also like, Dirks Bentley at times looked like he just had this 1,000-yard stare of like, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
As you do. Like the only one, I feel like the only person that could actually stand hosting the NHL Awards is Kenan Thompson.
Yeah. Just let the people who are good at it do it.
They're just like, I don't know. And obviously all the country music being in Nashville, it's like, it was fun. They put their own spin on it. It was fun.
Yeah.
Fine.
Dude, Nashville's a fun place, man. Like,
I love Nashville.
Yeah.
Love it to death. But Connor Bedard gets that because he's Connor Bedard. Yeah. Like, come on. The Selke, or in this case, yes, the Bergeron Award.
Who won the Bergeron Award?
It'd be funny if it wasn't Patrice this year.
Hansa Kopitar.
Sasha Barkov. Patrice Bergeron gets his 6th Selke trophy of his career.
You're telling me Bergeron won the Bergeron Award?
I don't know what else to say, brother. It's like, how haven't they renamed? They're going to rename this as soon as he retires.
I don't think you can rename it to the Bergeron Award while he's still playing.
Fuck it, do it. I don't care. The Selke goes to Bergeron, of course.
But Kopitar did get his award.
Kopitar did. Let's talk about the Jack Adams really quick. Jack Adams, Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Easy.
A record-breaking.
I always
a record-breaking regular season.
I always encourage people to remember that these regular season.
Yes, the majority of these are regular season.
So they get voted on
based on regular season performance.
Yeah. So
and by the way, there was that little snafu of like him getting the award with the honors of like his speech talking about coming back from his alcoholism and things.
Yeah.
As they were giving away free beers. It's like
I didn't watch the award show, so I didn't see this.
I saw the story and I was just like, oh. That's kind of not cool. It's kind of not cool.
It's like the most NHL thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's totally an NHL thing. It is just like, ugh.
Jesus Christ.
Ugh. The Norris, Carlson.
Yeah.
Like Erik Karlsson won the James Norris Memorial Trophy in like by Halloween.
Yeah. It's his third.
It's his third, and isn't it his first 100-point season?
Yeah. This is the first 100-point season we've seen for a defenseman in a long time.
In a long, long time.
Because Yossi just missed out on it.
He had 96, right? Like,
whew. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. The Clancy, which is off ice leadership, isn't it?
Yes.
King Clancy goes to Michael Backlund of the Calgary Flames.
Yep.
Pretty good for him. Lady Bing, which is gentlemanly play. That's Kopitar's.
Mm-hmm.
Good on Kopi. Gets himself a trophy. The most prestigious and probably best award in this whole thing, the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award.
Who won that one?
Love the MMLA. It's Stamkos.
Okay.
Stamkos gets the Mark Messier Award. The Ted Lindsay, obviously Connor McDavid. That's MVP voted by the players. I mean, come on.
No way.
No way. Let's talk about the Willie O'Ree for a minute, because this is the U.S. Ranch Community Award.
Oh, okay. It's cool there.
Jason McCrimmon, Detroit Ice Dreams Youth Hockey.
Oh.
So I do believe he is a black man. Growing the game a little bit for the urban youth in Detroit.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
On ya.
The Vesna, your boy, Linus Ullmark.
Linus. Yeah, he had an incredible season.
Stellar. Like crazy. Because didn't he have like a 198?
Yeah, his save percentage and goals against average were ridiculous.
It was 198 save or goals against.
Well above a 930 save percentage.
Like a 933 or something like that.
I think it was even higher than that.
Even higher than that. Oh my God. And then Connor McDavid obviously gets the heart as well. Because this dude pulling off the best season that we've seen since Stevie Yzerman.
Oh, no, you are right. It's a 933.
933
to... Oh, no, because that's including playoffs. He was 938 and a 189.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what the funniest stat
Whoa.
Okay, let me read you his stats. There's a very funny stat in this that like laugh a little bit. 48 games started, 40 wins, 6 losses, 1 overtime loss. He had a 938 save percentage and a 189 goals against average. He only had 2 shutouts.
Only 2. Oh
so that means like he was legitimately just consistently giving up 1 or 2 goals, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Oh my God. And of course he wins the Jennings. Like he carried that Jennings, but still like Swayman pulled his weight.
Oh yeah.
Like
Swayman was great.
Swayman was awesome.
Honestly, they're probably going to have to make a decision on one of those guys.
Well, yeah, they are. They absolutely are. And they're looking at both. They're looking at the possibility about both right now. And that just goes into the fact that there's so many moves that happened, like, since we've been around.
Yeah.
The Vegas Golden Knights parting ways with an original misfit.
Yeah, it's a good trade for the Penguins, only giving up a third pick for Riley Smith.
Third rounder for Riley Smith. That sucks though, because like,
yeah, it sucks to see that happen, but
yeah, especially just after he wins the cup, man.
It's the price of doing business, because
we know this is how Vegas is.
They liked what they saw in the playoffs and in the latter half of the regular season when they got Ivan Barbashev, so they gave him a 5x5 contract. Which I'm not totally against the deal, because the money in the term is a little rich for me, but at the end of the day, he was probably going to get more money and maybe more term on the open market. So I think it's a good deal, all things considered, for Vegas.
I guess that's fair to say. There was the one that happened today. Just touching on this today really fast. The Islanders part way with a long-term soldier in Josh Bailey.
Yeah, they get a second-round pick in 2026 to get rid of his last year of his contract for $5 million in space.
He goes to Chicago, and then they
immediately buy him
out. Yeah,
which means that Josh Bailey is immediately going to Brooks Orpik his way back to the island.
Woof. I think I saw that Perry got traded too over to Chicago.
His UFA rights got traded to Chicago for a 7th-round pick. So it's similar to what the Blackhawks did a couple of days ago. Speaking of the Bruins, they traded nothing for Taylor Hall and for Nick Foligno. Pure capped them from the Bruins.
Our boy Nicky signing for a year at $4 million.
And what that tells me is that the Blackhawks value him at about $2 million, and that's what they're going to have on the books when they retain $2 million to trade him at the trade deadline next year.
Please come back to Columbus, Nick. We miss you. Seriously.
I know a lot of fans aren't going to like this.
I know you don't want to see it just based off of
the funniest outcome
would be him going to Pittsburgh.
Kyle Dubas trading for him.
Yes, and getting him back. Yamamoto and Costin went to the Red Wings today.
Or nothing.
There's a lot of stuff that happened with the future considerations trades, right? Timo signing his 8-year extension with the Devils.
Dude,
love this freaking deal.
That is a great deal for the Devils.
8.8 a year, right?
8.8 a year. You got Brad at like 7.8 a year.
7.87ish.
7.25. You got Jack at 8. You got Timo at 8.8. Like, dude, that's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Fitzgerald, because this is a guy, we saw it with Nico, we saw it with Jack. He likes to sign his players early.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if we saw them try and get a long-term deal done with Dawson Mercer.
I can see it.
Get out ahead of it, man. And control that cap situation. Like, the Devils have put themselves in such a good cap situation, especially with having multiple years of the ELC for both Luke Hughes and for Simon Nemec while they're competing. They are going to be so good for so long.
Sticking with the Devils really fast, the Toffoli trade and the Blackwood trade.
Oh my God, the Toffoli trade.
The Toffoli trade is like a
freaking deal. Dude, okay, so you know what's funny about that? Do you know what pick they traded?
Didn't they pick the Flames' original trade from when...
That was the pick they got
from Vancouver
in the Severson deal.
Oh, the Severson deal, right.
And that pick was Calgary's pick.
so Calgary got that pick back.
Went to Seattle and I can't remember what the fuck trade that was deal. And the pick went to Columbus in the Bjorkstrand deal. And then that pick went to New Jersey in the Severson deal. And
all of the bouncing pick people.
That pick went back to Calgary in this deal.
I wonder if Conroy's actually going to use it or if he's just going to start another cycle with it.
Let's look. Did they trade the pick or did they?
I don't think they traded the pick yet.
Well, just analyze the trade real quick, or while I look this up.
Devils get Toffoli for Yegor Sharangovich and that pick.
Really good deal for the Devils in terms of value.
And our boy Shara is he's got a 2-year deal that's going to walk him to UFA with the Flames. Because apparently
concern.
It's a big concern because so many guys want to leave Calgary right now. It's like, what are they going to do?
So the Flames did pick a player with this. They picked Aidar Sunev.
Okay.
But just looking on Wikipedia, it's hilarious because the Wikipedia thing says Calgary Flames from Calgary via Seattle, Columbus, and New Jersey.
Right.
I just love that Calgary via Calgary.
Right. That's great. So yes, Toffoli is now a New Jersey Devil. He's probably dude, that top six.
That top six is gross.
Is disgusting.
Your number one and number two guys in Nico and Jack. Well, Jack's on line one, but you've got Jesper Bratt, Tyler
Toffoli on the right, Timo Meier, and probably Palat, Dawson, Dawson,
and then Andre Palat,
and then Andre Palat's on your third line, and it's like, whoa,
Jesus, fuck, like, good lord,
they're stacked, man. I love them.
They're ridiculous.
I love them.
Man, dude, it's crazy. Like,
it's gonna suck playing against Tyler because I love Tyler Toffoli as a player.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck playing against this guy.
Like, Tom Fitzgerald in the past 10 months went from a general manager who was, his fan base was pretty divided on him.
All right,
he at this point in time, as of today, is a top 3 GM in the league.
Yes, absolutely.
It is ridiculous.
Totally. Speaking of the other move he made, that same day, he trades out Mackenzie Blackwood to the Sharks for a 6th.
Which it's funny because me and a couple of my friends have been joking that he's going to go to the Sharks because they did the Timo deal and they need a goalie. It just felt like, and then it actually happened.
Well, that's the funny. I mentioned earlier that Neil's going to be on Shark City, right? Yeah. All of it, both of these trades, it's like they all have something to talk about because it's like you got the Timo extension, you got Blackwood going to San Jose.
That episode's got to be at least an hour and a half.
There's so much crossover between these fan bases right now, and it's going to be really cool to see our guys chop it up.
Yeah.
The most important deal from the 27th, really quick. Anaheim Ducks get Andrew Agozzino from the Sharks in exchange for Andre Schuster. What a blockbuster.
I will always remember. That's one of those trades you will always remember where you were when it happened.
Yes. I was right here. Another trade that happened the day after, really quick. The Avalanche get Ross Colton from the Lightning.
I thought he was going to the Devils. Round. I'm not gonna lie.
I kind of thought he was going there too.
But God, that when the Avalanche made that new hook deal with the Habs, I think everybody kind of knew that one of those picks was being dealt for a player. I thought that 37 might actually go at that point in time for Sharangovich because the Toffoli deal hadn't happened yet.
Right.
But 37 for Ross Colton is excellent for the Avs.
Canadians, speaking of new hook, they get him for Gianni Fairbrother.
Yeah, former 3rd round pick defenseman who's probably the 7th guy.
And a couple of picks. Let's talk about the PLD deal really fast because this haul for friggin' PLD is like, wow. Because I thought that Gabe Velarde was going to be a part of the Kings' plans, man. I guess he was, just not.
Yeah. The Kings went the Rangers route with the fake rebuild of getting all these assets and then just trading him for an
all-in.
After
that sucks because I love Gabe Vilardi in LA. Like, man.
Oh, I love Gabe Vilardi too. I think I'm going to like him even more in Winnipeg. I think he's going to have the opportunity to do really.
I hope it gets more time now. It's like, geez, love this kid. But
I think the Kings gave up way too much.
Yes, because he got packaged with Rasmus Kupari, which is gonna trading out Kupari is gonna make room for a lot of their guys that they're more high on.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, like you want to at least try and find a spot for Alex Turcotte at this point.
Turcotte, and then there was who's that kid that everybody's raving about? Why can't I think of his name? Because he was all over yesterday. Anyway, Kupari, Iafallo, and I like IXL.
I like Alex Iafallo a lot. I think he's a really good player.
And then a 2024 second.
Yeah.
There was the Kevin Hayes deal, which was supposed to be huge.
They made it seem like they're going to retain salary and a team's going to give up like a first and whatever. And then they retained half his salary and he went for a sixth.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by that. I thought the market for Kevin Hayes was going to be a lot bigger.
A lot bigger.
What it was. If you know off the bat that the Flyers are willing to retain half his salary, I would have thought for sure that more teams.
They said when they were originally like rumbling about this deal, they mentioned multiple NHL players. They mentioned that it was probably going to be a huge package of like Sanheim and friggin' in Hayes with like two other dudes and this huge thing. And then Torrey Krug didn't waive his clause. And
that created a huge monkey wrench in the whole entire plan. So it made things a hell of a lot more interesting as far as that's concerned. But
so it's just like, how is this going to look like?
I anticipate, I'm let down because I really did think that the Kevin Hayes deal would be at least a little bit more interesting than the Andre Schuster deal.
And it's all because of, I think, because of the monkey wrench with Torrey Krug exercising a right he has.
Yeah.
It just fizzled things.
This is why you need to be very, very cautious with your no move clauses.
Yes. Or else you end up like Evgeny Dodonov. Which, by the way, good deal for him staying in Dallas.
Yeah, I got a 2-year extension at a pretty low cap hit. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. The Hall and Flaky deal. The Bruins got Alec Regula and Ian Mitchell in that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They actually got players back, but it was future considerations.
Yeah, they got guys that could still play for them at this point because they need younger guys now.
Yeah, I don't think much of either of these guys, but at least they're bodies who can play games.
We'll talk about Joey really quick. Joey going half retained to Colorado for Galchenyuk.
So that is literally nothing because they're not re-signing Galchenyuk. So it's a pure cap dump, which I like for the Predators because I think that like doing that,
they needed that.
Doing that is better than buying them out.
Yeah.
And for the Avalanche, like especially after trading away Newhook, you go out and you get a Ross.
Trade Newhook. They're not going to re-sign JT Compher. You don't know what's going on with Landy, other than you're not going to have him for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So you have a good middle six guy in Joey at this point. And
at $4 million and in a new location. I think can thrive with no pressure on him. Nobody's expecting him to do things that an $8 million player would do.
Right. And he's 30, 31 now. So it's like, you know what you're going to get with Ryan now. And, God bless him for when he was here, but like, he's just not that player anymore.
Yeah.
And that fizzled fast, which surprised me.
It surprised me too, and it was sad to see because we're both huge Ryjo guys.
Yeah,
he was my first ever Blue Jackets jersey.
Your first Blue Jackets jersey. I ended up getting a T-shirt. That was my T-shirt when I went to Nashville.
I probably told the story before, but he was my first Blue Jackets jersey, and before the 2012, 2013 season, a season he actually spent most of the year in the minors.
Yeah.
I got it signed by him, and like the look of surprise on his face when he saw a Ryan Johansson jersey just appalled me. I was like, "You're a top 5 pick. Why are you so surprised that you're seeing a jersey?" But he literally looked like there's like genuine surprise on his face, like, "Oh, someone's got my jersey already."
I love that.
And
That's
then
so good.
next year
And
he broke out,
we'll
and
never forget his 2015 All-Star game. Oh,
I'll never forget him breaking out. And the year that he broke out, the Blue Jackets made the playoffs for the first time since 2009. The second time ever. They finally won a playoff game, and it was a fun series against the Penguins. And he had
by
some
the
good
way,
years,
again, congrats to a guy that we had in the organization. Congrats to Hitchcock for his Hall of Fame induction.
Yes. Congrats to him too.
We're just giving out congrats as we're like catching up on off-season stuff. Like, geez.
Yeah, because a lot has happened, so we're trying to speed around this as best as we can.
Yeah, there was the Sean Jersey deal, another body that the Coyotes are going to have, which is great. Awesome deal for them.
I like Sean Jersey a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that for the Coyotes.
Love that. They're actually going to have a stable building block back there.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And, props to Jersey.
He's actually going to be their Damon Severson.
He's going to be a guy that, he's going to be solid. He's going to be a power play quarterback, can kill penalties if he has to.
He is going to make some mistakes with the puck.
Well, yeah,
and he's going to frustrate the shit out of you. But he does a hell of a lot more good than bad, like Damon Severson. So you accept the bad because
you accept the bad because the good is just that good. And that was for a second rounder in 24. Still scrolling just to see if we are we missing anything?
Now that I can think of.
Colton, Smith, Bailey, Yamo, Perry. In terms of trades, I think we're all caught up.
Yeah.
Other extensions and things.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. This is the first draft since 2007 where we didn't have a trade on the floor during the first round.
Right. Yeah.
We had
everybody wanted to keep,
but none of them were like player deals. They were all like, we traded this pick and this pick to move on to this pick. So none of those were mentioning.
So it's, it's interesting.
At least it's really interesting that
everybody had guys that they wanted to pick in that first round.
Because I would have thought it would have been a lock that we would have gotten at least one simply because I thought someone was going to trade up for Mitch Goff.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to slide a little bit, get to 6, and then the trade was going to happen, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think we're all basically caught up on off-season moves. The last hockey thing really quick I want to mention, and we'll talk very shortly at the end of this just to cleanse the palate a little bit. It came out recently because of guys that wear this jersey number. It all comes back to this one incident with our new guy Provy.
Yeah.
All comes back to this. The league has come out now and said that they will no longer, for at least this season, I don't know if this is going to be like a total indefinite suspension of this, but they will not be wearing any warm-up jerseys on special nights.
Yeah, so that it's not just Pride Night. They're doing that for
military night, hockey fights, cancer night. This screws with a lot of
it does
nights. This that's not to say
there will still be nights.
There will still be special nights. There will still be hockey fights, cancer. There will still be Pride nights. There will still be military appreciation night. All of those are still going to happen, and they're still going to have auctionable jerseys.
Yeah,
to go to charities, and I believe they'll still be sold at retail level.
Yeah.
The only difference is that players are not going to be wearing them during warm-up.
Yeah. Some of the players were disappointed in it. Connor McDavid actually spoke out about it.
Yes, he actually spoke out.
I didn't expect that at all.
And he actually had concern in his voice, and he sounded like a human.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this from Mark, but he spoke to Steven Stamkos.
I did see this.
And I actually kind of like what Steven Stamkos said. I'll bring this up real quick. But
winner of your MMLA right there.
Yeah. Just talk real quick about what McDavid said from what you can remember.
I can't really remember any quotes because he still sounds like a robot, but he's still like, it was more just the inflection in his voice and the fact that he knows that these nights are a huge deal for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like only a handful of players, Pro V and a few others.
Okay, so this is from CBC Sports. So I'm going to read McDavid's one first, and then I have the tweet from Mark.
Do it.
Let's see. Connor McDavid isn't a fan of the new NHL's policy on themed warm-up jerseys. The league decided last week teams won't wear special pregame threads next season, the result of a handful of players refusing to sport rainbow-colored pride jerseys in 2022-23 season, which in turn caused unwelcome distractions. It's disappointing to see, McDavid, the face of the NHL and the superstar captain of the Edmonton Oilers, said at Monday night's award ceremony in Nashville. It's not my call, but obviously it's disappointing. I certainly can't speak for every organization, but I know here in Edmonton, we were one of the first teams to use the Pride tape. We strongly feel hockey is for everybody, and that includes the Pride Nights.
Yes.
So here's what Stamkos said.
Okay.
Obviously a tricky situation. I think guys have the right to do what they want. I think the thing that's disappointing is when you hear about players who had decided to not wear the jersey for the warm-up, that they were the headline of the story. It wasn't about 98 or 99% of the players that wore the jersey and enjoyed wearing it and were proud wearing it, whatever jersey it was, whether if it was Pride, Military Night, the Cancer Night, guys take a lot of pride in wearing these types of jerseys. And listen, it should be your decision, but the story shouldn't be about the guy who doesn't wear it, the one or two guys who don't wear it. I know that's the world we live in with the media and where that's a story, not the success part. That seems to get lost a lot in the mainstream media these days. And I understand that's what gets click and that's what gets the views, but the word distraction gets thrown around a lot. And I don't think it had to have been a distraction. It could have been a non-issue while focusing on the good that was coming out of a lot of these nights and the money that was raised and the players that did wear the jerseys those nights.
Now.
And I totally 1000% get where he is coming from.
Both of these players had very solid points in this.
But I still ultimately also understand why the outrage was what it was.
Now, let me mention...
It's the simplicity of it.
Let me mention this part, because this is the important part. So Elliot Friedman is talking to Gary at the awards, right?
Oh, God.
Because
this already has potential to go wrong.
Yeah. And he asks about the jersey policy change, right? The word that everybody picked up on, both Connor, both Steven, distraction.
Yeah.
So Robert Malloy tweeting about, I'm a distraction. My identity is a distraction. That's where the outrage comes in, because no, you're not.
No. God, no.
That is what
I hate.
The NHL says that these people are a distraction. You guys are not. You fans are not.
And I hate living in a world where anybody is ever considered a distraction for being who they are. I think that's something that you and I are very adamant about and striving towards, is we want to live in a world where nobody's a distraction for being themselves.
Right. We've said multiple times on this podcast during this whole saga that these nights are about them. They're not about the players that didn't choose to wear the jersey.
It's not about the straight white guys who have an issue with it.
No.
It's one of those
Bud Lighting this sport, guys. Come on.
It's one of those things where you can see both sides. I totally understand why people are upset, because I was upset too, understandably so. But I also understand where Steven Stamkos is coming from, and I think that's something that you and I did talk about when the first incident happened with Ivan Provorov. Is the thing we said was most disappointing about it isn't necessarily what what he did. It's that it took attention away from the good that was happening, because Philadelphia's Pride Night was very successful outside of Provorov not wearing the jersey.
Right, because we talked about Tony being a part of it. We talked about JVR helping to raise everything. Scott Lawton was big night.
Yeah. It was like all the stories that I saw from him from that night and everything I heard from people who were there sounded like it was great outside of one player.
Outside of Ivan, yeah. But then Ivan became the story.
And that's where, like, it's tough because there's a story there, but you don't want to take away from the good that's happening, because the good should be talked about, because we need to see more of the good. We want to see the good. We want to feel like there's hope.
And we want to let all of you know, everybody that's watching, listening, we care about who you are.
Oh God, yeah.
We care about who you are as people, as fans. You're hockey fans.
We care very deeply about what you must be going through. What not just in terms of being a fan of the sport, but just in life in general.
Yes. We're all hockey fans, and we all deserve to be included in this great game.
Of course. That's when the sport will be at its best.
I wouldn't be, you know what I would love? I would love like a neurodivergent night, a neurological night, something like that. And that's not to just put a spotlight on someone like me who has like shun issues or, issues like that. It's just like the reason why we have these autism nights, the hockey fights, cancer nights, and the military nights, like those two are the bigger two. And obviously the pride nights are huge. It's because everybody that's there. If you're part of a group of something special, you need to be celebrated.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you there.
And taking away the warm-up jerseys, I understand that these nights are going to continue on and they're going to still have festivities and things like that.
Yeah.
Taking away the players wearing jerseys on the ice takes away so much of the visibility aspect of it, which is the biggest part of it.
Yeah. It's tough because I agree with you. And I'm not saying I agree with the NHL's decision to do this, but where I stand is I don't know what the solution is. You can't force the players to do it. And if you just continue on with the status quo, which is we're going to do pride nights and we're going to have a select number of players sitting out, and every time it happens, it's going to become a story. I don't think that solves anything either.
No, because that draws more attention to the guys that do sit out.
So what the fuck do you do? You know what I mean? That's where it becomes like a really, really difficult discussion, because
there is a new committee that just, I saw an Athletic article about a new committee of players that's coming around. Guys like Cam Atkinson, Ethan Bear, are big parts of it.
Hell yeah.
An inclusion committee that has guys like that. I think PK's in it, and quite a few really, really solid personalities and names.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Nick joins it. I wouldn't be surprised if, we get a guy like Zach on it as a Columbus representative, right? Luke Prokop, they have to reach out to Luke Prokop for that, because it's prospects, it's coaches, it's players on both men's and women's. So this new committee is a step, I guess, as its own entity, kind of like the HDA.
Yeah.
This league won't learn. This sport is the best sport that we know. It's a wonderful sport.
It is the worst league.
It is the worst league.
And it's not even close. No other sport has these problems.
No. Now, that's not to say that baseball doesn't have these problems, because the whole Dodgers debacle is one thing.
Yeah. I just, like, to this degree. That's how I should have ended that. No other league is quite like this one.
But speaking of baseball,
you want to head into baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all excited because my boys are rolling, and you've been loving this too.
Yeah, no, like it's one of those funny things, like because like the Reds and the Guardians kind of have like an Ohio rivalry.
Well,
like,
yes, that's how it is.
But I feel like most fans of the Guardians and the Reds don't actually hate the other team. Like,
no,
I'm fucking loving what I'm seeing from the Reds. The
well,
Reds
it's funny because they're in opposite leagues.
Yeah, like I think that's part of it. Like,
that is part of it.
Like the Reds and the Guardians have been of no consequence to each other for so long.
Right.
So like it's been kind of nice to just enjoy them. Like when the Reds are good, I enjoy them, and I hope there are people in Cincinnati who enjoy the Guardians when they're good.
Yeah.
Like this year's Reds, like they're more talented, but they remind me of last year's Guardians, where it's a super young team that just gets super hot and it's so fun to follow. But the Reds are actually going to be able to maintain success because they're just legitimately good.
Well, they went
is ridiculous.
They went through, and let me just gush about this whole lineup for a minute, because the 12-game winning streak they went on, they've lost the last like 3 of 4, but they still took the series against Baltimore.
Yeah. No joke. I mean, Baltimore's a good team.
They took 1 from the Twins, and the Twins, or no, wait, not the Twins division. Not the Twins. The Braves.
Oh yeah.
They took 1 from the Braves, and oh my God. Oh, what a series that was, man. Like, just being able to stick up there for all 3 games, winning 1 and losing the other 2 by 1 run, rallying back.
I was at a Guardians game that night, and I was just checking like scores and like the second inning. I was like, oh my God, the Reds are down 5-0. Mm-hmm. And then I checked my phone like 20 minutes later, and I was like, oh, the Reds tied it.
That's how these guys have been. And the best part, I don't like how Johnny Indy is struggling, but Johnny's a wonderful ball player for these guys. Tyler Stevenson, TJ Friedel, my dude, ever since Dayton. Oh, love TJ Friedel. Joey coming back like he never left.
Joey looks like he's in prime form.
Joey Votto is 39 years old. He looks like he's like 18. It's amazing how badass Joey Votto has been.
His skills translate even in later age because he never relied on like an insane amount of power or speed or anything like that. His skill,
his game is technical.
Has always been his eyes.
Yes, he's got the best eyes in baseball.
Easily the best eyes in baseball. Nobody picks up on rotation like he does.
I mentioned Tyler Stevenson. Will Benson's been a great bottom 3 presence there. Spencer Steer, I love this kid. Spencer Steer going from all 3 bases to the outfield and playing left field like it's nothing, and racking up the RBIs. The pitching staff with Abbott coming in and posting a sub-2 ERA since he's gotten here. Hunter Green's unfortunately injured. I miss the guy. Williamson's been awesome. Jake Fraley, another one of the position players, amazing.
Yep.
But the headliner out of all of these guys, the headliner, the dude that's barely played for 2-3 weeks in the major leagues.
He has played a total of 20 games so far.
Ellie De La Cruz.
301 batting average, .356 on base percentage, .518 slugging, 25 hits, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, 7 walks in 20 games.
And a cycle!
Yeah, he hit for the cycle.
He hit a cycle in like
their first cycle since like
game.
the 90s.
It was the first cycle that the Reds have had since 1989.
Jesus Christ. Dude.
And of course, the guy that hit it back in the 90s or in the 80s,
yeah,
he also wore 44. I love this kid. He is so much fun. He's so simple up there on the plate. His discipline is the simplest thing. And he's so fast. I haven't seen speed like this since we had Billy Hamilton.
Dude, he's so fast.
He's so fast.
He's so big. No wonder he's so fast. He's got such gigantic strides. Dude, he's ridiculous. Ellie De La Cruz is literally when you go like to play the show.
Yeah.
You want to stack your team, so you just make a creative player and you make them 6'5", super fast, give them a shitload of power. Like they're good at everything.
Yeah.
That is not this game.
Did you ever watch back when that game happened? Because it was during the huge run. I can't even remember what series it was at this rate, because it was during the big win streak, right? Did you go back and watch the play-by-play from John Sadak?
No.
From when Ellie hit the cycle?
No, I didn't listen. I just like watched it on my phone without
this dude, John Sadak. I love this guy's play-by-play.
Much better than the last guy.
The guy that prided himself as a man of faith.
As we literally just talked about, Pride.
I love John Sadak. He is so professional, but he's so much fun.
Yeah.
He has just as much fun in that booth as fans do sitting on the first base line watching Joey Votto do his thing.
Yeah.
When he screams for the triple, because the triple was the last thing that he had to hit.
Yeah.
Triple was the last thing. And he's burning rubber down these base paths.
So fast.
He did this triple in just under 11 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that is stupid. Going from home to third in 11 seconds is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was like 10.8. It was like, no, you know what? I think it was Mitch Marner's contract number. It was 10.893 seconds.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And when he's screaming, he's like, India rounds third. India scores. It's a cycle. And we're just losing our minds. Ah.
Dude, I'm hoping that
I'm having so much fun
in the division because I want to see this team in the playoffs. I really enjoy watching them.
Well, the sad thing,
cut this off though, simply because I am down to 4%.
This tiny little skid has brought them back down to second, but they had a 5-game lead in the division for a little bit there.
Yeah.
This Central is too much fun right now. And I hope your Guardians are doing just...
Right now, they're back in first. Milwaukee's a half game back.
A half game? Okay. And I know you're a Guardians guy, but like, I don't know if you want to talk about the AL Central as much. No?
Oh, the AL Central is the funniest fucking division in baseball. I love the Central. The Central is like, it is the most addicting division in baseball.
It's funny because...
So I want to say this was like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at this, but like I was looking through like the schedules and stuff like that, and I looking at the standings, and at one point the Red Sox were 31-31, okay, and
gosh.
the Royals were 14-48, and the Royals were 12 and a half games out of first place in their division, and the Red Sox were 14.
Oh,
I was like, no freaking way. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The AL Central's the best. Right now, the Twins are leading the division and they're 40-42.
I'm pretty sure the NL Central had some pretty similar things going on. When the Pirates were leading it, they were only like a game above 500. And it was like,
at this point, I don't care if the Guardians win the division or not. I just want, whether if it's the Guardians or the Twins, whoever wins the division, win it with a below 500 record.
I need it injected into my veins because all these kids, Ellie De La Cruz. I didn't even mention Matt McClain, this fucking guy.
Oh, yeah, Matt McClain's been great.
I love this dude. Love him to death. I need these kids to keep doing their thing, to go for the crown. And let's make this fun, man.
Yeah.
Let's make love when Reds baseball is at its best.
Dude, when Reds baseball's like good, Reds fans great. That's a great baseball town.
Dude, we love it on the river. We love it to death on the river. And we love it in Columbus, and we are excited for our new Wolverine.
Oh my god, thank the Lord. I still can't freaking believe he fell into our lap.
Welcome, Adam. You're going to look really, really good from Maize and Blue to Union Blue. Can't wait to get this going, and we'll see y'all very, very soon.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.